Random thoughts. This video I'm going to talk about how the Nandi concealed or disguised the Orkoiyot whenever they were meeting the British. Of course, when it comes to the stories about the Nandi Laibon or Orkoiyot and the British, we know of Koitalel Arap Samoei. It's a story that is well known, and of course at the end of it he was assassinated. But wait, before that, the British had, of course, for a few times met the Orkoiyots. If they had met Koitalel and Kipchomber, who was his brother, and I think there was another one, and they had met them several times. But there is a part in this book written by Sir Charles Eliot, the East Africa Protectorate, published in 1905, where he mentions that when the British went to meet this Orkoiyot, it was always so difficult for them to know which of the people who come was actually the Orkoiyot. And the rest of the people would not even point out that actually the Orkoiyot or the Laibon is that one. And the British will struggle to understand who are we talking to here, who is like the person in charge. And I found that to be so interesting, and I'm going to read the part where he talks about that. This is what he says. The correct name of the Nandi appears to be Nandiek, and that of the Lumbwa, Sikisi or Kipsikisi, Lumbwa being the designation of them used by the Maasai, from whom it is passed to Europeans. According to their traditions, they descended into their present country from somewhere near Uasin Gishu Plateau, and have only recently adopted a settled life. Both they and the Nandi have several chiefs of importance, but they, as among the Maasai, more importantly still are the medicine men or Laibons, who appear to decide what the action of the tribe will be in all serious matters. According to the common story, they killed some time ago a celebrated medicine man called Boisia, and was straight away visited by every imaginable misfortune, including famine, smallpox, and defeat by the enemies. This was clearly the vengeance of Boisia's angry spirit, and the hope of averting further disaster. They show the greatest respect to his three sons, Kibales, Koitalel, and Kipchomber. For a long time, it seemed impossible to get into touch with these Laibons, who remained mysterious and hostile power. But lately, Mr. Hobley, to whose ability and knowledge of the country our administration owes so much, has succeeded in having interviews with them, and found them, like nearly all natives, well disposed to Europeans, when once they had met their acquaintance. It is a curious instance of how different from ours are an African's idea of showing respect, that when Mr. Hobley entered the assembly convened for the meeting, there was nothing to show which was the Laibon, and no one was willing to point him out. This was really due to extreme difference, and similar feeling makes a native avoid mentioning his name or alluding to him except in a whisper. So, and we've read Hobley's document about the people of Eastern Uganda. It's a very interesting document, and if you've watched my videos, maybe you've seen a few of the videos I've talked about his book. Now, Hobley seems, and when you read the book, actually it seems like Hobley really tried to understand the landscape and the people. He's very detailed. Now, Sir Charles Eliot talks about Hobley going to meet the Orkoiyot or the Laibons, and then this point, of course, comes out of when he goes to meet them in the assembly. He doesn't know who is the Laibon, and nobody around wants to tell him who is the Laibon. And he says that is out of respect and fear of the Laibon, but I think likely it was out of the people did not trust these people, and they did not want to let them know who their leader was. And I think their fear was not justified, especially going by what happened later to Koitalel Arap Samoei, who was part of this meeting that is described here, that when he went to meet Richard Maina-Sagen, he was killed. And I think if they had gone to meet him in the same context like this meeting described here, maybe it would have been a little bit more difficult to have him killed or to have him assassinated. Those are my random thoughts.